Good morning. Today I will take you into history and into the historical research we are currently conducting or started to conduct at the VLIZ research department on the prize paper. Imagine you're an early 18th century sailor from Ostend or Dunkirk who shares his wooden world on the sea, the ship, with 19 or 25 other sailors. Wartimes in the early 18th century ravage and disturb your ordinary activities at sea, and next to the cramped living conditions on board, there is the constant risk of having your ship hijacked by rival privateers or enemy navies. Yet what is the element you can trust, you have knowledge about, although it's also a hazardous environment? This is the sea, the constantly shifting element you live with, and the ways you use her as a resource. Yet how do you use her as a resource, and how can 21st century historians find out about this knowledge? Through history as a marine science, which studies the relations of past people with the sea, as reflected in historical documents. As a captain, you would exchange letters with merchants and colleagues, and these letters were kept on board of your ship. Now, the British Navy confiscated such shipboard documents from Ostend or Dunkirk ships, which are known as prize papers, and which circulated on the sea itself. They've been kept in the British Admiralty Court archives and are now studied for the first time for the Ostend Dunkirk region in VLIZ new line of research. They can be studied now according to the perspective of new Thalassology, which looks at history from the perspective of the sea instead of land. Now, one way to use the sea as a resource is through marine resource extraction, both employing fish as a commodity, herring from the North Sea, Mediterranean, anchovies or Bredene oysters, for instance, which could even be the very cargo you fear being hijacked for. But also the use of fish as a supplement to the onboard diet, which allowed you to stay at sea for a longer time and engage for a longer time in the lucrative activity of hijacking enemy ships yourself. This is an example where we can trace the area of activity or the route of the ship Aurora in 1703, and find through this 1886 Olsen map that the route coincided largely with herring fishing grounds, which supplemented the shipboard diet on board the Aurora. But there are other ways the sea served as a resource, namely through its climatological and geographical aspects and the knowledge thereof. Through your expert knowledge of winds, currents, and shallows, navigating and using these elements, the sea provided you an advantage in your sailing activities, perhaps to catch or outwit your opponents. The sailor knew how to sail isles, ragged coasts, and wild seas, though as this illustration shows, this was not an easy nor comfortable task. Again, the knowledge on how to do this is reflected in the letters the captains carried, instructions from merchants and privateers who joined you on your sea journeys, providing advice or instructions. Now, this exchange of letters or prize papers provide us with information on different ways in which the sea was used as a resource, either through fishery or through mastery of the sea as an element, by sailors belonging to a specific community, namely those engaging in privateering, hijacking rival ships as a risky but lucrative activity during wartimes, who often sailed those fishing vessels Ostend was known for, like hooker and dogger ships, which you see there, and did so across their usual fishing grounds. It is the local ecological knowledge of these experienced sailors or fishermen which shows in these letters, and which the new line of historical research we're engaging is beginning to explore. Further research on this material will show us further ways these sailors use the sea as a resource. Thank you so much.